The world is filled with mysteries from all corners. One of the biggest reasons for this is that we don't know much about what happened in our past. What we have discovered, or in other words, what we have unearthed. Unfortunately, we either don't believe or perhaps can't believe. Yet, in a secretive manner, a hidden power or a concealed cycle continues to unveil them one by one before our eyes. Believing is a matter of personal choice or free will, but it's worth knowing this. One day, the veil of mystery will be fully lifted, and that's when we will come face to face with whatever the truth may be. Our aim is to continue exploring mysteries, the unknown, and new discoveries in various fields to the best of our abilities. In this video, a few mysteries you will hear about for the first time await you. My request to you is to subscribe to our channel, share our videos within your social circles, and be sure to enable notifications, dear friends. So let's get started. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. An exploration team discovered an unknown structure at the bottom of the sea between Sweden and Finland. This has been a mystery for 11 years. The theories are wide-ranging, advanced enough to suggest it could be a UFO. Is it a UFO, a forgotten Nazi bunker, or an underwater Stonehenge? All these theories are being used to describe the mysterious formation known as the Baltic Sea Anomaly. In the depths of the sea, marine explorers found an unidentified object in the sea between Sweden and Finland. The Ocean Explorer team stumbled upon the formation during an expedition in rugged terrain in June 2011. Sonar images were analyzed, revealing an unexpected sight. Researchers say there were clear lines and grooves on the surface that almost resembled corridors and rooms, and a 30-meter-long track had been drawn in the sand behind it. It seemed to indicate that the object had been dragged up to that point. Divers from the crew sent to take a closer look discovered a series of steps and an area resembling a vaulted chamber projecting from the main body of the structure. It was speculated that there could be tunnels or passages beneath the surface of the unknown object. Later, what they claimed continued to astound those seeking answers to the mystery of the Baltic Sea Anomaly. When the Ocean X ship attempted to capture high-quality images of what lay on the seafloor, the team encountered difficulties. Sensors and photographic equipment failed to function when positioned over the anomaly. The sonar mystery was obstructed by electrical interference, and satellite phones did not work. On the other hand, despite having charged their batteries for a very short period, they were depleted. All of this naturally fueled the idea that what they had discovered was extraterrestrial, and it was suggested that the domed structure could be a flying saucer or a part of one. Some even likened the anomaly to the Millennium Falcon spaceship from Star Wars. Simon Andreas, the author of the 19-minute work titled Anomaly, stated that the theory of a discovered alien craft seems far-fetched, but that incredibly strong electromagnetic waves were detected in the area. On the other hand, studies conducted on the material examined by Stockholm University revealed that the formation is composed of volcanic rock. As Andreas pointed out, it doesn't seem very likely that an extraterrestrial life form would construct a ship out of stone or commonly found mineral materials on Earth. However, this gave rise to alternative theories. So, could it be a hidden bunker? The fact that electronic equipment malfunctions when positioned over the anomaly has led some to speculate about the possibility of it being a hidden bunker. Andreas mentioned that some suggest it could have been created as a secret military project of Adolf Hitler's Third Reich forces during World War II. Advocates of this theory propose that it might have been designed as a weapon to sink or at least disrupt ships in the Baltic Sea during the Scandinavian War. Or it could have been discarded into the sea in this manner. A slightly more intriguing theory is that it could be an ancient temple or a structure similar to Stonehenge. This hypothesis is not as far-fetched as it might seem. England was once connected to Europe through a region now known as Doggerland. However, it disappeared beneath the waters between 6,500 and 6,200 BC, when sea levels rose. Amidst the wild theories, scientists with grounded perspectives believe they have an answer to what the underwater formation is. Geologists have concluded that the Baltic Sea anomaly is remnants of the shifting glaciers during the Ice Age that shaped much of the Baltic Sea. Essentially, the anomaly is nothing more than a glacial deposit. According to Volker Bruckert, a geology professor at Stockholm University, while investigating the material, I was surprised to find a large black stone that could be a volcanic rock. My hypothesis is that this object was formed during the Ice Age thousands of years ago. As the entire northern Baltic region was heavily impacted by glacial melting processes, it is likely that both the object and the rock samples were formed in association with post-glacial processes. These rocks were probably transported there by the glaciers. On the other hand, Göran Ekberg, a marine archaeologist at the Stockholm Maritime Museum, states that it cannot be ignored that it is a natural geological formation. He agrees that the find has a peculiar appearance due to its entirely circular shape, but nature can produce even stranger things than this. The mystery persists, yet the team responsible for the discovery believes it is not as straightforward as some of the proposed concepts, and is not merely an ordinary result. Stephen Hagar Byrne, a member of Ocean X, questioned how the crew would explain the malfunctions of their electronic equipment as they approached within 200 meters of the anomaly on the Baltic Sea floor. I don't believe this is a volcanic rock formation. It could be a structure or a device camouflaged to resemble a rock. Or of course, it could be a spacecraft, he said, and Hagar Byrne reiterated on TV. Anything electrical, and also satellite phones, doesn't work when over the object, and all electronic devices, including cameras, start working again when you're about 200 meters away from the formation. Following this interview, military officials arrive at the scene shortly after, placing the area under quarantine. Ongoing research is halted, and the region is completely restricted for new investigations. Since 2011, no new findings or news have been released from this area. Let's discuss a civilization that emerged from the sea and disappeared mysteriously in America. Anasazi, a civilization that vanished without a trace. A mysterious tribe that lived in North American territories, but suddenly disappeared without leaving any evidence behind. Anasazi, an ancestral people, lived in the southwestern United States and vanished in the 13th century. According to legend, Anasazi were a prehistoric tribe that emerged from the underworld. Very little is known about their origins, and it's said that they appeared at the moment when the world and time were born. However, considering the various branches of archaeological science and different research techniques, there are many details to be hypothetically explored. They are trying to show us the entire truth of our past, but history stands before us like an endless horizon. Cliff Palace in Mesa Verde National Park in southwestern Colorado is out of this world. Rock towers, multi-story dwellings, and ritual circular structures called kivas are of great interest due to their surreal and mysterious appearance. Mesa Verde is located at an altitude of about 2,600 meters, nestled within cracks and surrounded by dense forests. So why did the Anasazi people disappear? The architects of this unique complex were considered sacred by their ancestors, known as the Hopi, Zuni, and different indigenous peoples, also referred to as ancestral or Puebloans. The Navajo people gave them the name Anasazi in the Navajo language, symbolizing their ancestors' enemies. This civilization left no records, but cave paintings, petroglyphs, and architecture found in Mexico's Chaco Canyon, Colorado's Mesa Verde, and Arizona's Canyon de Chelly continue to puzzle the minds. Its disappearance left researchers with numerous unanswered questions and mysteries. Traces in ancient rooms stood as if their occupants had just left for a short visit. Beautiful bowls and vases were neatly arranged, with no signs of violence on the bones. 700 years after the Anasazi disappeared, groups of Navajo natives arrived in this region from Canada. One now hosts 19 native tribes with different names, one in what is now Arizona in the southwest, and the other in what is now Mexico in the southeast. The disappearance of the Anasazi intrigues historians. So, what happened to them, and what occurred in this region? Answers to these questions might come from the numerous petroglyphs found on the walls of Bajada Butte passageways. What could these wall paintings possibly depict? Could there be portals, mystical beings, or a parallel planet in the Anasazi culture. Perhaps with their petroglyphs, they lost not only their own history, but also their destiny. Because the carvings symbolize enigmatic monster-like creatures that don't quite align with the world's worldview, and there might be a connection to what vanished. The spiral representing a dimensional portal in the recurring vortex form looks quite captivating. Were the carved beings from a portal of a parallel planet, or from another cosmos? The possibilities seem endless. Southwest America encompasses 4 nations: Mexico, Utah, Colorado, and Arizona. The monuments of star villages have been present on reservations for centuries. Various indigenous peoples have claimed to perceive mysterious forces at times. Several researchers have analyzed the region and identified a magnetic field there. At the corner of the 4 nations, an unusually potent energy has been discovered. Sacred sites at this location have held great spiritual significance since ancient times. The filaments and energy transmitted by this site, being unique on the planet, unfortunately give rise to thousands of questions. Experts suspect that this site may generate its own magnetic field or some form of vortex, suggesting the possibility of a vortex occurring here. The corner of these 4 nations could symbolize an area where continuous interaction in different dimensions is possible, where beings from entirely unknown planets or dimensions can move between dimensions aided by a vortex. This vortex could create a high-speed transmission area between planets, and this might explain the disappearance of the population in this area. Similarly, the drawings uncovered in this region, though not vastly different, seem to depict supernatural creatures. Figures portrayed in petroglyphs, even if linked with spirals, appear to manifest supernatural beings. Such wall drawings might be found in various parts of the mysterious region, Chaco Canyon, which has a wide impact. Perhaps yet undiscovered drawings might exist as well. What do you think you're seeing in the cave painting you're looking at on the screen right now? Let's start with the left one, for instance. It seems like a being with antennas on its head, large eyes, a fairly wide head, and broad shoulders, with a body examining downward. Simplistically, it could resemble a person in a costume. Perhaps it's mimicking what it's seeing. Moving to the figure in the middle, it appears to have very long legs like a towering being, or like a spacecraft emitting downward beams, or emitting its fumes in some way. Please make sure to share your thoughts in the comments, dear friends. What might the person or people drawing on these walls be conveying? Or what could they have seen that compels them to communicate this to future generations? Logically, this narrative can be scrutinized. Multiple different questions can arise, and these questions may remain unanswered. Evidence may be sought, but even if we assume that nothing is found, it is quite clear that the drawings on these walls convey a lot. So, if this region is indeed quite mysterious, could it be an ideal place for time travel in the past? Because in the midst of the drawings, there is a vortex spiral present. In this case, kivas are utterly enchanting. They could be designed for rituals, ceremonies, and various religious practices. It could be thought that the Anasazi were capable of opening dimensional portals through magical rituals in this region. Thus, they or different beings could come and go. Furthermore, it is certainly conceivable that the nature spirits worshipped by the Anasazi eventually transformed into destructive demons. This might be because the community no longer adhered to their sacred laws. Up to this point, we have attempted to uncover what happened to the Anasazi, for there are no traces to explain what occurred. Fossil records show no signs of violence, warfare, or other indications of change. Only a few drawings exist in petroglyphs and rock images. Perhaps these drawings could represent perspectives that reveal the entire history, yet the code remains undeciphered. Let's draw a vortex and travel from America to Egypt. Hawara, a massive underground labyrinth located in Egypt. Undoubtedly, we all agree that Egypt is a country that never ceases to amaze us, as more intriguing discoveries are made each day. This time, it was Hawara's turn. According to ancient records, an unexplored underground labyrinth is assumed to exist. Perhaps you are now at the right time and perhaps in the right place to learn what this is all about. It is true that there have been thousands of studies where discoveries in Egypt have been astonishing. Hence, Ghent University confirms the existence of an actual structure underground. But if you wonder what makes this so special, the only thing that can be said is that it could be the missing piece to prove the existence of an ancient civilization. In fact, Herodotus was quite taken by the grandeur of these structures. When compared to thousands of pyramids and all other known structures, he devoted himself to describing this matter, saying it might be even more significant than all of them. Therefore, without forgetting a detail, he was perhaps struggling to convey all its features. Based on this, he conducted a thorough investigation. So, what data is available about the underground labyrinth in Hawara? If we rely on what Herodotus wrote, we might grasp the magnitude and grandeur of this underground labyrinth. He mentions small rooms and much larger chambers he himself had the opportunity to see. He also states that it is two-storied, one part being an area visible to the entire public, while the other part has been stretched and unseen by anyone except a few individuals. All of this was confirmed in 2008, when an investigation was conducted and the presence of a large artificial plateau was discovered. It also had traces of channels resembling ventilation holes hidden in the area. The conclusion of the exploration trip to Hawara revealed, after analyzing everything, that under the artificial plateau, there were blurred yet discernible patterns of grids made of stone material and granite, as noted in the research report. As for the height, it is believed to be approximately 8 to 12 meters deep. All of this was more than sufficient to attempt visualizing the alleged labyrinth. However, as a result, after several attempts and before proceeding further, the individual responsible categorically forbade the unveiling of more details. Despite efforts to find the entrance of the underground labyrinth, there is still hope of entering what is claimed to be a labyrinth of 3,000 rooms filled with ancient artifacts, hieroglyphs, and possibly data about what life was like at that time. Therefore, motivated by Herodotus's writings, hope has not yet been lost. As I mentioned before, in the year 2008, an entire team was brought to this 88-kilometer area, now known as the Southern Plateau. For this purpose, advanced technology capable of measuring the density of the soil was employed. In this way, the goal was to pinpoint the most accurate location to access this level. However, despite all efforts, a positive outcome could not be achieved. So what is known about Hawara is seemingly nothing more than a few remnants from that exploration trip. Perhaps it is intended to appear this way. The question remains, why did the exploration of the underground labyrinth not continue? While the findings so far may validate an unknown civilization, the truth is that we must definitively ascertain whether the investigation and research will ever be completed. What is apparent for now is that the exploration of the underground labyrinth seems impossible, as this site has been entirely prohibited by the government. Hence, the mystery continues to persist. Yeah, dear friends, it's truly incomprehensible. Whatever it is that certain authoritative individuals know or possess, they somehow have the ability to restrict or conceal the things that people should know about history. Indeed, we need to find the answer to this question. Let's continue, shall we? Let's venture to a different point and enter a pyramid. How about that? The path leading to the underground world discovered beneath the Pyramid of the Moon in Teotihuacan is one of the most enigmatic structures to exist. Of course, the pyramids share many diverse features, some of them appearing common. Very little is known about how they were constructed, who exactly built them, what their purposes were, and even though we would like to know how pyramid designs were initiated and spread worldwide, unfortunately, finding answers to these questions seems impossible for now. Very little is known about these astonishing structures. Some information can be gleaned from historical texts or significant findings during excavations. One of them is the Pyramid of the Moon in Teotihuacan, Mexico, one of the most remarkable structures in the world. Teotihuacan is a comprehensive archaeological complex located in the northeast of Mexico. Its central axis is the famous Avenue of the Dead, which should have been a highly significant destination in ancient times. The Avenue of the Dead is the point where the Pyramid of the Moon, the Pyramid of the Sun, and the Quetzalcoatl Temple meet. When you reach these structures' summits, you're treated to a magnificent panoramic view, an enchanting sight indeed. As a result, it consistently attracts millions of tourists. Mexico is a country with rich archaeological treasures and a great deal of mystery. One of the latest discoveries has surprised scientists. A group of researchers found a mysterious structure made of skulls in Teotihuacan. The Pyramid of the Moon is one of the most significant components of the entire archaeological complex, standing at a height of 43 meters. It is the second largest structure in Teotihuacan, with the first being the Pyramid of the Sun at 63 meters. According to studies, this extraordinary building was constructed on top of 7 pyramid layers dating from AD 100 to 450. The pyramid is believed to have been the site of numerous rituals and ceremonies involving human sacrifices. Archaeologists were quite surprised when they discovered a tunnel leading from the Pyramid of the Moon to the center of the Plaza de Olona. The individuals responsible for this significant find were members of UNAM, along with experts from the Ministry of Culture and the National Institute of Anthropology and History. The tunnel's discovery took place between 2017 and 2018, and it measures 8 meters in depth and 15 meters in diameter. Archaeologists employed non-invasive geophysical survey techniques, which enabled them to detect a large void beneath the pyramid. Now, what was the purpose of this tunnel, and why was it constructed? There are different access tunnels beneath the ancient structure. Whoever undertook this task, and for whatever purpose, it's safe to say that even the construction process was quite challenging, my friends, and it necessitated an explanation to the public. An explanation was provided, suggesting that the cave was likely the result of a natural formation. However, this hypothesis has not been confirmed. Other individuals believe that the tunnel was indeed excavated. Just like the other channels found beneath the Teotihuacan pyramids, archaeologists suggest that the inhabitants of this small city wanted to mimic the underworld by constructing the same pattern. As you are aware, there are many underground chambers and even vast underground cities found on Earth, including one of the world's largest and deepest underground cities located in Turkey. The residents of Teotihuacan engaged in a series of religious activities known as rituals. They offered sacrifices to celebrate the origin of life, express gratitude to the gods, and ensure good harvests. The Pyramid of the Moon is not the only pyramid with such formations during its construction. The Pyramid of the Sun and the Quetzalcoatl Pyramid, also known as the Feathered Serpent Pyramid, have cave-like structures several meters deep. Currently, the information available about the structure of the Pyramid of the Moon and the tunnel is regarded as assumptions. However, certain findings hold significant importance in drawing conclusions. Deformed skeletons and skulls have been discovered in various excavations, along with different objects like necklaces and small human figurines made from mosaics, all of which are buried alongside them. This discovery is quite intriguing for researchers aiming to gain a bit more insight into the mysterious history of Teotihuacan. Unfortunately, information about this place has been scarce until now. However, through ongoing excavations, more knowledge is being acquired each day regarding the origins and symbolic significance of the Teotihuacan pyramids. It was truly a place of rituals. Often, sacrifices were made by people. The fundamental question remains, By whom and for whom were these sacrifices and rituals conducted? And how did they feel the power and fear necessary to construct these edifices? Yours truly. As for me, I am just lonely human. Here with you as always. We will continue our research. Hope to see you in the next video.